In Hawaii there's so much to do. There's hula, there's surfing and real estate too. We just two local guys with so much to say. So listen to the Real Estate Braddahs today.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to our another edition of the Real Estate Braddahs. My name is Dean Ueda, and we have my co-host Lane Kawaoka here for episode 29, our July 2020 edition. So we got some fun stuff to talk about today. Mixed bag. We're going to talk some Oahu real estate statistics. I have another scam of the month this time, and it's not Zoom. I also wanted to talk about leveraging property managers and interest rates, talking about some trends again.
So I am giving away a little Easter egg. So this month it is the COVID-19 response folder. So a bunch of downloadable goodies for the SBA loan docs, sample landlord repayment agreements. So for those of you landlords trying to make deals with your tenants to keep them the same as heads in beds, at least they're paying. There's some sample agreements there. We are not lawyers or CPAs, accountants, and anything that we provide you guys is just for your own information or entertainment. You guys can get access to that by texting the word SIMPLE to 314-665-1767 or shoot me an email at Lane at SimplePassiveCashflow and I'll send that to you. And I am rolling out a new group where we are taking new investors looking to pick up their first rental property, a remote rental, buying them on the mainland. And we're going to be doing bi-weekly conference calls, and you get access to our Rolodex of property managers, brokers, turnkey providers, what else? Insurance guys, lenders, you name it. We got it. We're going to try to do everything we can to provide you the guidance so you guys don't mess it up and you get started.
Everything that we were looking for when we started, huh?
Yeah.
Yep.
And if you guys are able to wake up at 6:30 in the morning on August 1st, we are doing a Money Mints and how to buy a remote rental workshop. So maybe you don't need people around you to hold your hand like the incubator group is. By the way, you can get more information about the incubator group by shooting me an email to or going to simplepassivecashflow.com/incubator. But maybe you just need to chime in on this 6-hour webinar we're going to be doing. You guys can check this out at reialoha/meetings, and there'll be a link to how you can get access to this webinar. And then we're going to be doing a happy hour too in the evening for those who attend.
And that one's in person, right? Just to clarify.
Right. So the workshop, we wanted it to be at home because we know some people are not able to leave the house yet. Myself included, because I left to go to the mainland and I'm stuck at home for a couple of weeks. But those, a lot of this real estate investing is on relationships. So it's hard to replace that. So for those who are adventurous enough to come out safely, wear a mask, and go and have some cocktails and beers. We're going to be doing that in the evening on August 1st.
Yep, looking forward to that, definitely. Yep, so if you guys don't know me already, my name is Dean Ueda. I'm a full-time realtor. I like to pitch that, with my 19 years of accounting and finance experience, now turned into use my superpowers for real estate investing and to help out my clients. I look forward to helping people provide what I call actionable intelligence so that you guys can make informed decisions. So I enjoy this podcast or this video.
It is a
that
podcast. We are podcasting these days. So if you guys want to mow the lawn, wash the car, fold laundry, you guys can check this out on iTunes, Google Play. I put them on all of those.
Watch it at your time. Yeah, so I enjoy this. I appreciate you, Lane, as always. So shall we just jump into it?
Here we go.
First of all, I don't know about you, Lane, but Hamilton is on my mind. I saw it, not on Broadway, but I saw it in Boston 2 years ago. And on July 3rd, Disney Plus released a movie version an adaptation from the play. So it was. I watched it twice already, and I actually have been pondering to show my son. And I actually ended up showing my son, my 9-year-old son, and he saw it today. But anyway, I just want to start off pitching that because I think it's such a great play and musical. I wish everyone could be able to watch it. So if you have Disney Plus, check it out. But anyway, that was just my.
Yeah, so my buddy invested in this Hamilton play.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's on episode 146 of my podcast, Matt.
Oh, I remember. Okay.
Yeah, so this is the deal that he went in.
Oh, so because that was one it's either hit or miss, right?
It's either you like most of the time, like 90% of the time, 95% of the time, you're gonna lose all your money. But
wow,
he didn't want to tell me how much he made on this one, but I'm guessing it was like 10-20x what he put in. And it's still paying.
Yeah, all right, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That sounds fun. I gotta listen to that.
Yeah, he said it's cool. I mean, like he was kind of talking about it a little bit, but like you get to go to you get like special seats.
Oh.
And I think he got to go on stage or something like that. I don't know.
Oh, wow.
But maybe one day, right, when we have 50 grand to just throw around on fun things. Like, I mean, you're into this, right? You like this type of stuff. So
yes, I'm very much into it. I never thought about, even with your episode, I never thought of investing in it. So
I just interviewed a guy who does like wine. Like you can buy actual real wine and they store it in their vaults. And then also, I think it's called Mythics Magic, but you can buy all kinds of like memorabilia, like comic books, Thor's hammer, that kind of stuff.
So collectibles,
or like the Black Lotus card, a lot of magic cards.
Oh, wow!
So you gotta figure out what you like to do and then invest in that, right?
Maybe I'll go for the 1986 Michael Jordan rookie mint condition card.
Oh, that stuff isn't blowing up. Another guy I know, he's been selling all that stuff lately because of the Last Dance.
Oh yeah, the ESPN one. Huh.
But yeah, so back to the basics, boring stuff, right? That actually
right.
How you make your first few millions before you start screwing around with fun things like that.
Yeah, so talking about Oahu statistics for real estate, just looking at this picture, it seems a little grim, but keep in mind, so this is June statistics on Oahu, and it's compared to June of prior year. Yeah, so we have single family median prices went down about 3.8% to 770,000. Closed sales went down about 7.6% at 302 closed sales, and median days on market went up 2 days at 20 days for the median days on market. On the condo side, though, similar story. We have the small decrease, 2.5% at 421,500. Kind of big decrease in closed sales at 312, and big bump up in median days on market of 40 days. So this, again, keep in mind that this is comparing this year to prior year. So one thing to keep in mind is, of course, that the COVID issue, right? So when we do compare May to June, right? So June to the prior month, May, this story is a little bit more, I guess, positive or happy. So Lane, if you click the next one, the Honolulu Board of Realtors talks about month over month, so it sounds a little bit better. Yeah. So overall, total sales, month over month sales actually increased. Yeah. So it went down 23% compared to prior year, but if you compare June this year to prior month, sales actually increased 22.3%. Right. So breaking it down, single family homes went down 7.6, as we mentioned in the previous slide, but it increased almost 22% from prior month. And similarly, condo sales down 34% from prior year, but up almost 23% from May. So overall, I guess the statement is that it's a good sign, and it's showing the strengthening of the state as things are hopefully reopening. I don't know. I think last I heard that they're talking about postponing the reopening again, yeah, for travel and getting rid of the quarantine, so that Lane can get out and go about. But I think you would be grandfathered in. You still got to serve your 14, right?
Yeah, yeah. You gotta do multiple 14-day sentences for multiple exits and entrances.
So yeah, I mean, it's kind of a positive twist to things when you're comparing month to month. Yeah, when you're comparing June to May. So it sounds really positive. However, when you go, I don't want to spin it all positive, right? So we look at COVID cases in Hawaii, and today we had 36 new cases, and we're seeing things bump up as similar to what the mainland is doing, right? So one of the negative things is Dr. Miskovich was saying is, last week and a couple months ago we were seeing really small, almost single digits increases every day. So it seemed like we had a handle on things, and it was good because when you have those small clusters that are isolated, you can skip trace those and have things under control. But yesterday's um, news, he had stated, it's no longer just in isolated clusters. So that's maybe something to consider in terms of on the flip side of the positivity from what the board of realtors are telling us. Yeah, but I'm going to kind of jump around. So I also mentioned, the last few months we were talking about the Zoom scams and the issues with Zoom. So this month I wanted to talk about the scam of the month, which is there's actually a COVID-19 relief payout phishing emails that are going out. So please beware. What these emails are saying is to click on the Dropbox link and to input your information so that you can get paid out your COVID-19 relief grant payments. So be wary, because sometimes these Dropbox links will pass through the security of the company's website security features. So always be careful. Yeah. So never click on a download if you weren't expecting it. Be careful of unexpected deadlines, because the scammers like to present a sense of urgency for you, and that's going to make you want to do something out of impulse, right? And also, if you get an email from someone you think that doesn't hurt to call them or do a follow-up email or text. Just another authentication to make sure that it's legitimate. So something to consider.
Yeah, one of the biggest ways is like just kind of look at, they should address you by your name instead of like, hey Dean. Most of the scams will be like, hello, like something user or something like that.
Or Antoine. I've got this for Antoine.
Yeah,
Hi,
but
Antoine.
you never know. I mean, they could have your name too, but
Yeah.
you can kind of see in like where the originating reply is from. That's another way you can kind of check too.
That's true. Yeah, and I always look at like you said, look at the email address that it's coming from. I think just today I got one from. It looked like information from corporate, from my brokerage at Keller Williams, but I wasn't sure, so I forwarded it to my team leader and administrative assistant to see, try to confirm if this was a legitimate email, because it was asking for some information about coaching. So yeah, just be wary that these phishing schemes and scams come out in all different types, and they're just trying to take advantage of you any way that you can. So sad to say, but you have to always have your fishy cap on,
Just because you use incognito mode doesn't mean you can't get it.
Yes. So next I wanted to talk about just a little reminders and tips about properties and property managers. So this is for all you investors in there, and these two tips and reminders are based on two incidents that happened to me. So my first tip is to ensure that everyone has your property manager's contact information if you're using a property manager. I had a call from a client who had asked me, oh, their resident manager had contacted them about an issue with a tenant. So I asked him, so you have a property manager, right? And she said, oh yes. I was like, well, have it routed through the property manager, because that's what you're paying them for, and that's what they have insurance for. You should have insurance also, but that's what they're there for, and they're trained to handle these issues. In this situation, the client used to live there, so the resident manager had an existing relationship with the owner, so that's why they reached out that way, which is fine. But it can cause additional stress when an owner gets a property manager, so that they wouldn't have to deal with these kind of things. So just remember, leverage off of your property managers, and make sure that in doing so that everyone knows that you have a property manager and has their contact information. The second tip what I wanted to bring up is to, right now with the current situation, there's tenants that may not be able to pay rent, maybe due to loss of job, or not collecting unemployment, or whatever it may be. So think of your property managers as assets from the standpoint of, they can send tenants resources, give them websites to agencies or other sources of fundings that they could tap into to pay rent. I know my one of my property managers has already offered that up to tenants up front, even prior to this. Well, I guess when COVID first hit, they were taking a proactive approach. Yeah? Another one of my property managers helped me reach out to the Section 8 office because of my tenants were having a difficult time making payments. So apparently we're gonna, I guess Section 8 is actually gonna be able to help out. It's just a matter of some administrative paperwork. So try to leverage off of your managers and have them help you help your tenants. Yeah. So think of that kind of stuff. And this kind of stuff you want to do prior to doing things like forbearance on your loans. If you have loans and you're not getting any rent payments, I would try to get this first, because these are kind of things that are more of like the low-hanging fruit and won't affect potentially if you're trying to get future loans or refinancing. Yeah.
And it's kind of frustrating because sometimes tenants can be like little kids. There's free money out there for them in terms of Section 8 help, or just getting like extra stimulus or unemployment. They don't know what website to go, or they won't do it.
Yeah.
So
that's why, to your point, if your property managers can point them in the right direction,
you got to direct them, right? I mean, property manager employees, they always do the very minimum, and I don't blame them. Property management job is the worst job ever, in my opinion. I mean, I don't want to do it.
I leverage out. That's why, even the local stuff. So that's my tips for the day. I also wanted to tap into interest rates. I know we've been talking about those, or we constantly talk about interest rates, but last few months we were talking about how the Fed rates cuts wasn't translating to reduction in the 30-year amortized rates, but I'm happy to see that it's actually starting to now go down. So if you look at this slide, the one with the circle around it, we see the big hiccup where in March and April rates were actually kind of going up for the 30-year fixed rates. Yeah. And as we discussed, a lot of it was because of supply and demand. We had a lot of refinancing and purchases that were causing the retail banks to be flooded with all of this work. So the natural reaction is for them to just bump up their rates to slow down the demand. But now we're actually seeing it going down, and it's still forecasted to go potentially even further down. I had one client today lock in at 2.5% with negative points. So again, this is a VA client, and I think we had maybe 10% down. I took another screenshot off of a local bank here today, and they're touting for their 30-year fixed 2.625 for their 30. I think there are some points for that one, but really good rates. So it's good time for buyers. Buying power is greater, and even if you're trying to refinance, maybe it's a time to look at that. But I have another slide to talk about it. What is next? I forgot what I'm talking about.
Who's that guy?
Yeah. So talking about refinancing, I wrote a blog this past week about all about refinancing, and it was perfect timing because of the rates going low. So if you're interested, tune into my go to realestateofhawaii.com, and I have a blog section, and there's I just have a new blog about how does refinancing a mortgage work. And this coming blog I'm going to do this on Monday is going to talk about, should I refinance today or not? So it's going to help you decide if it's the right time to finance for you in your situation. Yeah. So yeah, tune in if you can.
So if you guys want to learn more about investing on the mainland, check out my podcast, Simple Passive Cashflow, and join me and Dean at our local group, raaloha.com. You can find us on Meetup and Facebook group. First teaching point, since I love house flippers because they pay my share of taxes. I barely pay any taxes as a buy and hold investor because I'm able to get all of these ways to kind of drive my income down to almost nothing. Well, when you're a wholesaler, a fixer, flipper, that's all active income. You're getting pounded on taxes there. When you're trying to make income, it's different, right? Whether it's passive gains or active income, the main thing. So kind of getting into some COVID news. This is a article I've been tracking, the New York Times. They kind of have a rolling score sheet of what's happening in terms of vaccines. And I think I haven't checked this for the past month, but we actually have one approved there on the right side.
Wow.
Did you hear about that?
No, I didn't. Is that that's not the one that was for malaria, right?
No, I don't think that's a vaccine. I think that's just like a treatment, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, go check out the New York Times coronavirus vaccine tracker and read it for yourself, right? I mean, you got to curate your own news these days. You don't know what to believe. This is actually a pretty big thing for those investors still picking up their own rental properties. They are kind of throwing out the debt to income ratio requirement from qualifying mortgaging standard. Before it was 50% is what you needed to qualify, but it looks like that might be going away. So you guys can check out, Google it for yourself. The lender may not have, this is like Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac the government-backed loans rules. Your lender might be a little bit more conservative than what the government standards are. In that case, I think it's time to find a new lender. I'm sure Dean knows lots of them. I've got a few of them that I use that are licensed in every state on the mainland, but I don't have too many here. But if you need one locally, talk to Dean. If you need one on the mainland, I can give you a referral.
So that means so that's making it better or loosening the standards then for the buyer.
Standards.
Oh, interesting.
Right. But that's always been happening, right? Like you've seen things like, I think 3-4 years ago, they got rid of the whole, before for cash reserve requirement, you couldn't use your retirement account. Then you could use it at 50%. Then you could use it at 100% with your retirement account. So this has been happening for like the beginning of time.
And I like the one where oh, sorry, go ahead.
Most investors, they get all excited, right? Oh my God, the world's coming to end. They're going to give people who have no money and no credit these loans. Like, that's not the case.
I like the one where they loosened it, where you could have 10 Fannie Freddie loans instead of 4.
Oh, that was, yeah.
5 years ago.
Yeah, that was a big one.
Yeah, that was really big.
But that's an example of one where it doesn't really, who are the people getting more than like 2 Fannie Mae mortgages? Like 0.01% anyway, right? I know you get really excited, but you're like, that's not the average person. Like, the scary thing is when your average person, the Uber car driver, is getting all these loans, right? And they can't qualify for it.
That's what they said with the .com crash, right? Is when the stock market was going up so crazy, and when you're getting stock tips from your taxi driver, then we're in trouble.
Right, like in the movie The Big Short, right? Like the strippers were buying all these houses with non-documented income.
Oh, that's true.
So here's a little bit of a rumor here. We've had a few stimulus plans go through, in case you haven't noticed, but stimulus number 4 is on the way through. It got approved by the House. This is called the Moving Forward Act. They get really creative with the way they call these things. CARES Act, EIDL, Moving Forward Act now. 2,300 pages in length if you want to read it all. Estimate the cost $1.5 trillion. And what this is, infrastructure spending on air, rail, highways, bridges, transit systems, alternative fuel, automobiles, broadband, all types of energy, schools, housing, water, a whole bunch of things. Who knows what it's really going to be? But let's face it, in the year 2020, the Republicans control the Senate, and something like this will likely not go through in its current state. But I think my takeaways here, and I kind of highlighted in bold, is like you see, I'm looking at the energy production credit that's going to be extended through 2026. Now, this is not for sure, but you can see where they're kind of putting focus on. And I think with the solar panel cells is running out, right, next year, but maybe that's be coming back.
Yeah, they're slowly decreasing it, I think.
Yeah. And then for a lot of my accredited investors are looking for ways to not pay any taxes, and they're using things like land conservation easements, bonus depreciation through cost segs, and oil and gas investments. Now, the oil and gas investments are sucking. I think everybody knows that. And the land conservation easements are under incredible scrutiny these days, especially for those ones going over a 5-to-1 ratio. So I'm kind of calling it now. I feel like some kind of solar credit or energy credits is going to be the next thing for people for high net worth accredited investors to kind of go after.
Okay, so you heard it here first, though.
Yeah, I mean, you tell me, you were around when they had like the technology spending, research and development nonsense. Like, what was that? Explain that one.
I don't want to go into that. I was actually in public accounting at the time.
Yeah.
And I think
let's frame it like this. You knew a guy who knew a guy who did this.
Yes, I did. And at one time I want to get into is like, it's kind of like selling the tax credits off it's pretty interesting concept. It was like you said, it was the R&D tax credits, and I think rolled up in there was even some like production for movies and film, I think, and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, the world's not fair, man. You gotta learn the rules of the game. Play the game.
The IRS isn't gonna give you your taxes back. You gotta go out and find it.
So CBRE, a commercial real estate brokerage, had a few takeaways over this past month. Turnover is, which is defined as the percentage of total rented units not renewed each year, fell from 47% in 2009 to 42% in April. And this is kind of obvious, right? Because people are stuck in their houses. They were sheltering in place. They weren't searching around for the next place to move, which is what turnover is. Turnover usually rises in each spring, but obviously declined this year because of COVID. That's what that is. You might be interested in this, Dean. This is might infect a lot of home buyers or home builders or people renovating their houses. So John Burns came up with this design changes for life changes. So here are 6 ways that houses are potentially changing due to COVID. And I want to preface this saying that these are just some ideas. In my opinion, I'm going to be careful how I say this. I think in the next year or two, I don't think that this pandemic thing, it's going to be sort of an afterthought. Because here's why I think it. Like, if you would have took a snapshot of America about a year ago today, everybody was concerned with these like at work shootings or these school shootings. And they were talking about designing real estate with curved hallways and stuff like that, because it's hard to for a active shooter to wreak havoc with curved hallways. And now in this state, nobody cares about that stuff, right? Like, us as humans, we forget about this stuff so easily.
Because the next big thing is going to come up, right?
Yeah. But since we're in the middle of a pandemic, first one here is work from home. We're all working from home. So flexible spaces that can accommodate the home officer in nooks and stuff like that.
Mm.
Changes in kitchen design. So fewer people are going to want the great big open rooms that include the kitchen, with more wanting the kitchen to return to having some separation to hide the smells, mess, and noise. So I disagree with this one. I still like the open kitchen concept, which is just like me right here, right? Like this is open concept.
Right.
My background, right?
Yeah, agreed. Because I mean, especially if space is an issue, because I mean, what you're giving up in closing it off, I think it's way, it makes more sense to have it open and for that feeling of space. Yeah, the spatial awareness. So
I definitely don't think we're gonna go back to the kitchen designs where your kitchen is in the sort of a hallway. And I'm sorry if your house has that. It's a little obsolete. People don't want that typically these days. Garage configuration. So many families will now be able to have fewer cars per person, opening up the garage to multiple configurations. So
to use it as a mixed use rather than just for parking your vehicle.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of people in near cities, they just don't have cars.
Even a lot of people in the suburbs nowadays, I see, whether it be multi-generational housing, where they convert the garage, or at least half the garage, into either storage or like living area. Like they have a TV and a couch in half, or maybe the whole thing. They might even carpet it, and they're already semi-living in it, and they park their car in the garage or out on the street.
Yeah, we do things a little bit differently here in Hawaii, right? John Burns didn't take into account the Hawaii market.
You're right.
Yeah.
Who does? Yeah.
So the next thing was front entry. So public entry will still need great street appeal for secure package drop-off, since, I mean, Amazon is like delivering stuff all over the place. And then mudrooms will migrate from cooler climates to provide a buffer between the outside and inside. Yeah, we don't have mudrooms here in Hawaii.
No.
Because I think it's in the south. They have them a lot. Home management centers like to put all the Wi-Fi and all the tech stuff. Some say the laundry room is the best place for that. And
security cameras.
Yeah. And then the bedroom options. So for space efficiency, the guest bedroom and the home office will likely be the same space for families. For other families, they preferred a small bedroom for sleeping only, with the square footage devoted to other spaces like the living room. Still others will want a larger bedroom that will accommodate even more uses, including TV watching. So this has been happening for the last 20, 30 years.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it's just multifunctional, right?
Right. So smaller bedrooms to do larger living, entertaining rooms. All right, so a little bit of data here. So on the left side here, the cities with the biggest % increase in one-bedroom rents. Top to bottom, Cleveland, Ohio, Indianapolis, Columbus, Ohio, Rochester, New York, Chattanooga, Tennessee, Cincinnati, Philadelphia, St. Louis. They rose almost double digits. Not saying that those are great places to rent, but that's what the data is saying. And of course, as an investor, you need to not only look at the MSA, like in Cleveland, Ohio, but you need to look at the submarkets in that market. So for example, Kawaoka is just one submarket in Honolulu, just like how Irving is one submarket of a few dozen in Dallas MSA. The 17 most expensive U.S. rental markets are listed here, with San Francisco, New York, Boston, San Jose, Oakland being the top. So the biggest takeaway here is, and I've been hearing this from several people in the Bay Area, that rents are dropping like crazy in San Francisco. So the data here supports it. It's going down 11.8%. But you see a little bit of spike with the Oakland crowd, where it kind of jumps up there. And I have another story coming up on that. But yes, San Francisco, San Jose, they're dropping heavy. I think it has partially to do with it was already expensive to begin with. And I think COVID kept everybody in close quarters, and people are getting, like apartment fever, and they want to get out of that type of stuff. Honolulu, they're at number 12, the 12th most expensive U.S. rental market, where the average is $1,670 a month. Didn't really move too much, but it is off the high of 2,100 back in March of 2015. Here's that article I was mentioning, how things are getting, people are trying to get out of the high price areas. So Procter and Gamble moved their headquarters from Oakland from San Francisco. I think the people who are doing the opposite are like Golden State Warriors, but they're not going very many places these days. So here is the UHaul report. So UHaul report is something that guys like me and Dean geek out on, because it is kind of showing a boots on the ground snapshot on where Class B and C renters are moving from and to, where their origin destinations are. And there's a lot of data out there, but the UHaul report is one of those blue collar type of sources where, if you're a UHaul guy moving, you're imagine when you're kind of moving with your buddies, you're buying them pizza and beer to help you move. These are like the average folks out there. Whereas the more your white collar corporate worker is getting van lined away, and there's another van line report out there, but the exit points are Northern and Southern California, the LA area and the San Francisco area. They are leaving there, and they are also leaving from the Northeast, the heavy populated cities. And I think that's Chicago up there. Nobody wants to be in Chicago these days.
Yeah.
Get out of Chicago for sure. And they're going to a lot of Texas, a lot of Florida, Southeast, and then Seattle and Portland. I think that's Vegas, right? Down there in Nevada. Is that?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Apparently people are moving out, says the UHaul report. Better sell those properties, Dean. So some more data. I mean, we're not going to kind of go over all of this, but you guys can check this out on the YouTube channel if you want to drill down into this stuff. But let's highlight number 12 there, Honolulu. 1 bedroom averaging 1,670, and then the 2 bedrooms are averaging 2,100. Of course, no speak if it's a condo, single family home, Waianae, Kawaoka. It's just average. Just some data.
Yeah.
Trying to see if I can find you your Las Vegas, Nevada. Did they shut Las Vegas down again?
Again?
I don't know.
Because they only opened last week, right?
Yeah.
Or I didn't think they closed.
I try not to watch news, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of hard to roll craps behind a plexiglass thing, or they're not even touching the dice.
Yeah, there it is. Number 56 there, Las Vegas. 1 bedroom, $1,000. 2 bedrooms, $1,200 a month.
I know I wanted to bring up back to that when you're talking about the John Burns slide, talking about people revamping how they're thinking of their home design, kind of sort of related to that and to tenants, is that just yesterday I got a request from one of my tenants who has requested some repairs, one for a stove burner and other one's for carpet. And I was like thinking, you get a feel for people too from the standpoint of how we said people are resting in place and are stuck in their home. So you get cabin fever, and because you're spending more time there, you notice the things that are wrong or the imperfections, right? So and it was cool because I had that tenant was there for 3 years and had really not requested anything previously. So I said, okay, let's go. Told the property manager, yeah, just let's go fix it, reasonably, but let's fix it. They seem like reasonable request. And on one hand, you could have been like, no, one burner is broken, you can use another burner, or what, the carpet.
Yeah, we're
is
here to make
free.
money, right?
Yeah.
No.
But no, that's not how I roll, right? And I'm just thinking to myself, okay, this is a 2-bedroom walk up, and they
where is this one? Is this locally?
Actually, this one is in Vegas.
Okay.
And that's what also piqued me to what cued me to bring up that again too, was because it is in Vegas too. So I said, yeah, let's go ahead and do that. It's like, it's not all about making money. You want everybody happy. And like I said, long-term tenant, they haven't requested for much. So yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice. It's easy when you got the money, to do that.
no. I mean, you gotta take the good with the bad to it, and like I said, I looked, made sure we it's a long-term tenant that hadn't requested for much, so it didn't seem like one of those needy tenants that keep on hounding you. Oh, this needs to be fixed. That needs to be fixed. So, you feel for them too, right?
I'll do the same thing.
Yeah. Right.
But like, that's why a lot of when I had like single family home rentals, I wouldn't have garbage disposals. They wouldn't have dishwashers.
Yep. So, and that's so that the garbage disposal one is a kind of a tricky thing, because some plumbers say the garbage disposal is a good idea, although it's one more electrical machine to break. Some say in condos they're good because when you turn them on, I mean, regardless, if you don't have them, then you want the tenant to use the strainer, but they're not always going to use the strainer, right? But one thing that the garbage disposal does is when you turn it on, it creates a vacuum, and it's shoving everything down, so it helps keep the pipeline clear. Is one
that's a good
someone
idea.
said, yeah, so one thing good about garbage disposal to consider, because same thing like you, Lane, I was like, yeah, I've had them go and I've just removed them, but I've also, in doing so, the plumber's like, hey, you may want to think twice, because this offers some kind of does offer benefit for the plumbing system.
Yeah, I know for like Class C and probably Class B, if there was a dishwasher in there, we'd probably not fix it. We'd probably just leave it in there as unfixed
and have them use it as a dish dry. What do you call that?
Yeah, and just
dish rack.
Yeah, and then like going back to your earlier point, right? That's your property manager. That's their job to be the bad guy.
Yep. And so and exactly, you don't fret over it. You make your decision. You set up your systems and you make your call and you just let them know. And that, like you said, don't stress about it. I know a lot of newbie investors, kind of fret over these decisions, or it causes stress. But I think as time goes by, they'll learn and hopefully not stress out about it. If you continue to stress out, then maybe real estate investing is not for you, or maybe that's when you go into things like syndication, right, where it's totally hands off and there's nothing. You don't need to make any decisions.
Yeah.
The evolution of investing, as you call it, Lane.
Yeah. So here's kind of a joke here. I mean, it's real stories, but 24 Hour Fitness is Chapter 11 bankruptcy. And then apparently there was less demand on supplements, so GNC decided to also close 1,200 stores too.
Wow.
But I think 24 Hour Fitness guys were on the brink anyway.
Yeah.
But the whole home fitness thing is kind of coming up. I mean, we're talking about the Peloton bike. I got the Echelon mirror and the bike, and then Lululemon just bought Mirror.io. So that's a big thing coming. So if you guys want more of this, Real Estate Braddahs, check us out on YouTube and find us at reialoha.com. Again, here is our legal notice and disclaimer. But we are reaching the end of the hour, and we'll see you guys next week or next month.
Yep. See you guys.
And hopefully we'll see you guys on August 1st.
Yep. I'm looking forward to that for sure.
Yeah, it'll be the best party you had this whole
summer.
Best party of the summer. Yeah. For real. Bye.
Free real estate investing group, check out reialoha.com.
We're just two local guys with so much to say, so listen to the Real Estate Braddahs today.